Jeff Bardin is here with us to break this all down. He's the Chief Intelligence Officer of Treadstone 71. He's also a former member of the United States Air Force Intelligence Community. Jeff, good to see you.
Good morning.
So I want ISIS to be worried about this. I want Kim Jong-un to be worried about this. Should the American people be worried about this?
I don't think so. I mean, the charge for the CIA is to actually look at our adversaries and the foreigners. So right off the bat, we're going to be fearful that they're looking at our devices and getting involved with our everyday activities. And that's not what they're charged to do. The others that should be upset with this, Russians, Chinese, the North Koreans, Iranians, and others, they should be worried. On the other hand, now that this has been released, it gives an idea of what we're doing, and they in turn are going to make adjustments to defend against that now.
Right. So then, should we feel less secure? I mean, the CIA's job is to keep us safe, right?
Well, their job is to infiltrate, develop human intelligence sources, develop counterintelligence scenarios, and extract data as much as possible without being detected, possibly espionage and sabotage activities. So the fact that these other folks know this, even though they may have been examining or having some of their own programs, should put us at worry, because now these other folks eventually will understand what we're doing, understand some of the code behind it, and be able to, like I said, adjust that. At the same time, they can watch what we're doing now to scramble around to make adjustments. It's called second and third order effects of this, and in turn see what we're doing to respond to this. So this has got a lot of different ripples in the pond.
WikiLeaks says that the reason why they've released this information and why they've done so in the past is to provide transparency to the American people, so that the American people are aware of what our government is doing in our names.
Right.
But you point out something that's very important as well, which is that our enemies now will be able to assess our capabilities. How do you balance the two?
I think, we've charged the CIA and we pay for them to do this work, and it is to protect us down the road. So there's certain things that they have to maintain secrecy over. It's just required to do that. So when WikiLeaks says they're doing this for our benefit, I think that's quite a misnomer. There may be some things they've released that we should know, but there's other things I think it's just ridiculous to release. And I think some of this has to do here. It's just sensational. It gets them back on in the news again, right? Where they've been offline for a while.
I know the likelihood of you going through everything that WikiLeaks has posted is small, but I'm wondering if, we as regular consumers now should be particularly concerned. Now I'm not talking about intelligence. Now I'm talking about some 12-year-old in his mom's basement who's particularly savvy with computers that may now have the ability, or at least learn something that will bring them close to having the ability to listening to my conversations at home.
And surprisingly, they may have already been doing this just because they've grown up with this technology, and some are very sharp. So it is very possible to look at this to possibly take over cars, which this has been talked about at different security conferences around the U.S. for quite some time. Automobiles that, let me step back just 1 minute here on this. The problem with a lot of this is we always release software first to make money. We don't secure it when we write it. And that's one of the inherent problems that we have, is that once we figure out that we can make money with it, then we figure out now we have to secure it. And it's like putting brakes on a car after it's been built without brakes. It's not going to run right, it's not going to turn correctly, and it won't brake the right way. And this is a problem inherent in this whole industry that we face. So it hasn't changed in years. I've been doing this for 30 years in this game, and I haven't seen much change.
Yeah, it's all about the Benjamins here in America first, but I got to ask you, I mean, the fact that the folks at WikiLeaks were able to get this information using cyber hacks, and then they point to our sophistication in using hacking techniques against our enemies. Is that something worrisome? And I'm specifically thinking about our nuclear triad, the fact that hackers can get into our systems, even though we have these really kind of interesting ways to get into the enemy systems.
It's interesting whether this was hacked or not, or it was a series of contractors sharing the same documentation.
That's a very good point, because that's how the information has been released in the past. It wasn't a hacking, it was a human being.
Right, it was possibly an insider, which I believe, at my first indication of this, is looking at the data. This data has to come from inside, and in order to get this, you wonder, what controls do you have to protect this data? How come you don't know that this data is being leaked out or shared out to a USB drive? And this is what's amazing, that in this day and age, for an organization like this, although the Directorate of Digital Innovation is really formed in October of 2015, so they're still fairly young, So the fact that they are still making mistakes like this in this day and age is definitely concerning about this. But the fact that they don't know at this time, know where it came from, or if contractors really were sharing this, should give us pause and to look back in this. What do we need to correct these problems?
Does this set the CIA back significantly in this area, at least?
I don't think it sets them back so much. It may give them a chance to recharge. I think a lot of these things, the 0 days, possibly have already been patched. I think what they should do is establish an awareness campaign, look at their controls, possibly go out to all these vendors that have had these 0 days and have them patch them now that they have been exposed. But there's a whole underground industry and people finding 0 days and sharing them, selling them to intelligence organizations. It's a cottage industry, and so people make money just finding this, and it's big money, anywhere from $10,000 to $250,000, depending upon the exposure factors.
Wow, it is good money. Jeff Bardin, thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.